Not all is happy with the Supreme Court's ruling on the EDCA, and those opposed to the accord want the High Tribunal to reconsider its decision. Here's Freddie Abando.
The Makabayan bloc in the House is expected to file an appeal to reverse the ruling of the Supreme Court declaring the constitutionality of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. The bloc, led by Bayan Muna Congressman Nery Colmenares, was in the list of petitioners to include former Senators Rene Saguisac and Wigberto Tañada, pushing for the junking of EDCA since it violates a provision in the Constitution that bars the permanent basing of foreign forces on Philippine soil. It also reverses the Senate vote in 1991 that led to the withdrawal of U.S. bases in Clark and Subic and other U.S. military installations in the country. Kabataan Party List Congressman Terry Ridon stressed EDCA violates the country's sovereignty.
That's the particular concern that we've had, and it's unfortunate that the Supreme Court did not stand for sovereignty.
The High Tribunal's ruling upheld government's position that EDCA was the implementing agreement of the Visiting Forces Agreement and the Mutual Defense Treaty signed by the Philippines and the United States. Magdalo Party List Congressman Ashley Asadillo said that EDCA provides for the rotational deployment of U.S. forces for joint exercises and disaster response. The time frame for deployment will depend on the negotiations by both parties. Since it is an executive agreement, as Cedillo said, the Supreme Court was correct in ruling that the EDCA is not a treaty that should be submitted to the Senate for ratification or concurrence. Cedillo was a former pilot with the rank of captain in the Philippine Air Force.
We are happy that the Supreme Court gave due course to what some of us in Congress and the executive has been saying all along, that the President, through the Secretary of National Defense, was well within their powers to pursue an executive agreement with the United States in terms of facilitating the entry on a limited rotational basis of American forces. And we see many benefits in such. So we are glad that with this ruling, it can finally be given the green light. Will the U.S. be setting up bases in the Philippines or not? And the answer is no. Because if they do so, then they will be violating our Constitution, because they need to enter into a treaty which will be ratified in the Senate. Now, what is a clear measurement here is that they come here on a limited rotational basis, but they situate themselves within Philippine military bases and camps, which of course must undergo the corresponding upgrade and facilities improvement in order to host this increased operational tempo brought about by increased presence of American troops.
Asadillo made it clear visiting U.S. forces will be housed in Philippine bases and camps. The United States will provide the resources for the upgrade of these facilities. Asadillo stressed the EDCA will go a long way in sustaining the capability upgrade of the armed forces in its mission of securing the country's territorial waters.
We made it very clear during our deliberations in Congress that the Philippine government was open to some infusion of American funds, because definitely some of our camps and bases will need to be refurbished in order to host the kind of equipment and forces that the United States will be sending on a limited rotational capacity. There would be some corresponding equity on the part of the Philippines as well, because in the end, the beneficiary of these facilities improvement and the base improvements will still be the Philippines.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.